Hi guys, I'm over at Lombard in the afternoon and I thought I would go ahead and do a video on our pin cushions. So when you pick up your pin cushion fabric, you notice one side has a brighter print on it. That's called the right side of the fabric. The other side is more faded, and that's the wrong side of the fabric. When we make most anything in sewing, we're going to turn and place our fabric so the right sides are touching. So you notice it was a rather large, long rectangle, and I'm folding it in half to where it looks a little more like a square. So I want your pin cushions to be like that too. Once you have the squares, you're going to take your sewing gauge. So remember, the sewing gauge was the 6-inch ruler, and the gauge part is the part that moves. All right, I want you to set it at a 1/2 inch. So once you get to the first notch where the 1 is, that's 1 inch. So you need to go halfway back where there's a little bit longer of a line. So I'm going to push my gauge to a 1/2 of the inch, 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to hold my fabric and I'm going to set the gauge against the fabric, and that's going to show me on my fabric where I need to put a line. So if I had more hands, darn, you know, if I was an octopus, I would have more hands and I would be able to hold this and take a pencil and draw on the fabric. Then I'm going to move this a little bit down and keep, so you can see where my mark is, keep making a line. So I'm going to make a line on one end all the way, turn the fabric and hold the gauge against the fabric and all the way up here so that it'll kind of look like an L. We'll have a line that goes here and a line that goes across, and we'll know it's at a 1/2 inch because we're using our sewing gauge. Once you get that drawn all the way, make sure you connect those little teeny lines. So right now there's a bit of a space, and I could just go back through with my pencil and connect the line. So I have a solid sewing line and a solid sewing line on here, and I did just use a regular pencil. I did not use the dressmaker pencil just because it's not going to show. We're not writing on the outside when we're all done sewing. So that's where I have a needle and thread. I'm going to follow my line, and I'm going to use my running stitch first, and darn, too bad I can't go upside down or backwards, but I'm going to do the running stitch, remember, down into and back out of. I'm going to follow the line that I drew on my fabric. So if we're pretending I have a line there, I'm going to go all the way. So all the way down the side and back across the bottom with my running stitch. When I get to the very, very end over here, I would stop and repeat now with the overcast. So the overcast goes, the running and overcast goes on both sides, both. So that way you're double stitched, and you don't have to worry about your stitches getting loose and falling out, and your pin cushion will hold together. Once it's all done and stitched, then we get to look at it from the inside and flip it out. So that way we'll see the nice flower. On this one, it happens to be flowers. On yours, who knows what it is. But we would see the right side. You're leaving the top open so that our stuffing can go in. And then we will tuck this nicely, tuck it in so it looks nice and neat, and overcast that part closed. And so it looks all nice and neat. Of course, this, if it was really sewn, we would have it all stuffed and things like that. So we'll talk about it more in class, but that's enough to get you started with your pin cushion if you've already shown me your skills that you know how to do the 2 stitches. All right, thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow in class.